In his first letter to Timothy, Paul said that bodily training is of some value. But godliness, though, well, that is of value in every way. So with that said, let's talk about getting spiritually fit. Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to 2018. We made it. It's awesome. And with New Year's come new beginnings. You know, the old funny joke, New Year, new me. People make resolutions talking about how they're going to change, do things differently at the start of the year. Some people stay with it, some people don't. And one of those resolutions is always gym memberships, right? So everyone goes to the gym and they dedicate themselves, or they say to themselves that they're going to go and they're going to get into shape. All right, so they go hard for about 1 or 2 weeks and then they just fall off for various reasons: schedule, work, kids. They just get unmotivated. They don't see results. Whatever the case may be, people, they have good intentions, but they don't follow through. All my life, I've been a skinny guy, more lean than anything. So over the past year, starting in July, I just decided I wanted to change my body. I wanted to bulk up. I wanted to gain some weight. I gained about 15 pounds. I hit my goal, but I'm not where I want to be yet. You see what I mean? So I got to my goal. I thought that I would be satisfied where I'm at, but I'm like, no, I need to add a little bit more bulk to my frame and I'll be satisfied, right? But just like everyone else, I went in to the gym at first and I thought you just go in there and you just throw the weight around. You just hop on the machine and you do some curls, or you do some push-ups, or some leg curls or something like that, and you just go without a plan. And so then, not only that, you go in there and you throw the weight around, and then you eat any kind of way. So you do all this and you get frustrated because you don't see the results. So then one day I decided to really just start looking into it. Okay, so let me know exactly what I'm doing. So then I started looking up YouTube videos, and then I started looking up on bodybuilding.com. And then that's when I started finding out that there is an exact science to working out. All right. So when you work out, one of the things I learned is how to activate the muscles that you're trying to grow. All right. So when I would hit the bench press, I usually be flat, but no, when you don't be flat when you're bench pressing, you stick your pecs out and then you activate those muscles and you push and you squeeze. And there is something that they also call time under tension, which means that the more time that muscle is under tension, okay, the stronger that muscle will be. It'll be tore down at first because it starts tearing down the fibers, stuff like that. But then that's when you take your supplements and you allow it to get the proper rest in order for that muscle to grow, right? So then there's range of motion they talk about. You know, if you want to really get the best results, the optimal results, you want to have the full range of motion. So if you're doing a bicep curl, you want to make sure you go all the way, get that good stretch, and then you want to come back up so you feel that muscle burning and you feel it actually working, right? But a lot of people don't do that. They go in there and they don't get the full range of motion. They don't try to get the time under tension. They just get the weight and they just throw it around, right? They do a couple of sets and they think they're good, and then they'll go home and they'll eat cheeseburgers, fries, or whatever, and they're starting to accumulate more fat than anything. Now, genetics play a big part in this too. So, but that's another topic. Anyway, so as I learned these things and I started to really pay attention to the science behind it, I started seeing more of a spiritual principle in it. Later in 1 Corinthians, Paul said, "Every athlete exercises self-control in all things. They do it to receive a perishable wreath, but we an imperishable. So I do not run aimlessly. I do not box as one beating the air, but I discipline my body and keep it under control, lest after preaching to others, I myself should be disqualified." So if we remember earlier where I mentioned there were 5 reasons that people give up working out. They die off during the resolutions. There's also 5 reasons why people die off during their spiritual life. Let's see how they translate. Number 1, not seeing quick results. So we all know we live in an impatient society and we want to see things happen quickly. We want to see our results happen immediately. We want We joke. There's a running joke in gyms all over the world where there's always a guy who after every set he looks in the mirror, he starts admiring himself, expecting to see instant growth, and it doesn't happen. Now, sure, maybe after you do a set of bicep curls, your biceps does look bigger because the blood is flowing there, but those aren't going to stick. It's going to go back down. The swelling's going to go down, and then you go from there. But yeah, there's always a guy. He's like, oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, I'm sexy. Or they start kissing themselves. It's ridiculous, but it happens at every gym. So, but no. So we don't see those results fast, and it's that way in our spiritual lives too. When you're walking with Christ, you expect things to happen instantly. All right, you say a prayer, you expect God just to drop whatever he's doing and instantly answer your prayer. Why do we have this sense of entitlement? There's several reasons why we could have it, being from how we're being taught or a misunderstanding of certain scriptures. I've also made a video that I link here too about getting our prayers answered. Anyway, so we expect those immediate, instant gratification prayers. And when we don't get our prayers answers quick enough, we give up. We say, all right, you know what? Maybe it's not for me. Maybe this God thing isn't for me, or whatever the case may be. We will give up. Don't. Keep working hard. Keep going after it. There's a reason why Jesus told that story of the persistent widow. Keep nagging. Keep going. Keep praying. Go in. But as I said in the other video, the key to getting your prayers answered is having Christ formed in you. You got to watch the other one. I'm not going to give the rest away. We make mistakes when we're impatient and we make poor decisions. One of the classic examples of poor decision of someone being impatient is Abraham, Sarah, Hagar, and the result of Ishmael. God told them that he told Abraham that he's going to give him a son. And Abraham got old. And you know what? Not to beat up on Abraham, I know a lot of us would be the same way. It's hindsight 2020. We could look back and say, well, he should have waited and trusted God. But how many times do we trust God? Abraham was dang near 90 years old. All right. Who knows if it was 90 as we count today? I doubt it, because the calendars were different maybe. But fact of the matter is, Abraham was in his 90s as we know it. And after that, he just decided that he should take matters into his own hands. He listened to the counsel of his wife. All right, and so then from that point on, we get Ishmael. Another example of someone being impatient is Samuel. Well, not Samuel, but Saul. In 1 Samuel chapter 12 through 15, we have the story of Saul's disgrace, his fall from grace, where he got instructions, but he was impatient, greedy, or whatever, and he disobeyed. And because of his disobedience, he had evil spirits brought upon him, and he was cursed. And ultimately, the throne ripped away from him. So, moral of the story: people make bad decisions. When we're impatient, don't get impatient. See it through. Stay the course. Keep working hard, and I promise you, the results will come. Number 2, another reason why people are underdeveloped in their spiritual life is because they're inconsistent with their workouts. Inconsistency is a killer. It cripples any progress we seek to make. But so often we sit there and, like I said so many times before, we expect to have the same results as someone that is working consistently. It doesn't work that way. We have to be consistent and keep striving and working and developing and growing and maturing. That is how you grow. You just don't sit there. You have to go through things. You have to keep going. You have to stay the course, even when you don't feel like it. So those nights where you don't want to study, those nights where you don't want to pray, those days where you don't feel like walking in the Spirit, those moments when people try you and you have to walk in love, those moments where you don't have anything to give to someone in need, but you give it anyway. Those moments that challenge you to live out that Christ-likeness, that those days when you just want to punch somebody in the face, but you have to turn the other cheek. There's so many instances where we have to develop that Christ-likeness in us. We can't go back and forth when we want to do it and when we don't want to do it. Because the more you stay consistent and the more you walk in the Spirit of Christ, the easier it is to walk in it. So stay consistent. Number 3, not using the proper form. To me, this is probably the easiest one. The proper form to me, when I think about it, is the Holy Spirit, right? You want to walk in the Holy Spirit. You want to pray, stay, study, abide, flow at all times within the Holy Spirit. You want to stay within Him, let Him teach you, let Him groom you, let Him show you the way that you're supposed to be, where you're supposed to go. That's the proper form. Anything outside of that, outside of the Holy Spirit, you're not using the proper form. A lot of times we want to go ahead of Him. A lot of times we want to react on our emotions, on our thoughts, our feelings. But that's a big no-no. What you need to do is at all times and in all ways walk in the Spirit, the Holy Spirit. Number 4, not eating right and having the proper nutrition. This is a big one to me, because when you have a horrible diet, you're going to have a horrible spiritual body. Follow me. So a horrible diet consists of bad doctrine. It consists of bad influences. And then you aren't reading the proper material to help you grow. You're not reading things that are God inspired. You know what I mean? You're not listening to those who have the sound counsel of God, those who are actually communing in the Spirit of God. We sit there and we hear things with people. We hear that someone is a pastor, or we hear someone is a minister, or somebody labels something Christian, and we just go and devour it. But then we wonder why we get sick. We wonder why we get confused. We wonder why we get lost. It's because we're trying to consume bad nutrition. When in actuality, what we need to start doing is we need to be more selective with who we listen to, with who we read, with who we confide in. And as you start doing those things, as you get a really great devotional, as you listen to a great teacher, study under a great teacher, as you read consistently, as you pray consistently, and as you consistently live out Christ's teachings, and then that's when you start seeing a greater transformation in your body. All right, so remember, don't listen to everybody just because they say they're a preacher, because a lot, as we can tell, if you watch the news, listen to the news, and you hear other people's stories, a lot of these people, no. So make sure your diet is A1. Number 5, lack of motivation. Lack of motivation is a big one for a lot of people, because they could feel lonely. They can say, well, what's the point? I don't have any friends. I feel like I'm losing people in my life. You know, they just don't feel motivated to do it. They don't really see the point in it, and they have to raise their gaze to the horizon and see that there is a greater point, and that is the shedding of our old man and becoming a new creature, a new creature. So they have to have people come into the lives that are going to motivate them and keep them going, and that's why it's so important to be connected to other believers that's going to push you along the way. It's very important to be connected to a church that's going to push you and mold you. The church I'm talking about is that sense of community that's going to not let you fall, that's not going to let you stumble, that's going to continue to push you and inspire you and keep you motivated. Because when you don't have that motivation, when you're not surrounded by those people, you're going to fall off. That lack of accountability is going to destroy you in the end. So you need someone to be accountable. So you need someone to confide in. You need someone that's going to keep you going. You need someone that's going to constantly encourage you and exhort you. And don't fail to be that for someone else. Time under tension. Time under tension, in the spiritual sense, is something that a lot of us really want to avoid, because when you're under tension, it hurts. Working out hurts, and that time under tension, those muscles getting fatigued, it hurts. And to equate time under tension to a spiritual principle, to a spiritual sense, that's us going through trials, that's us going through temptations. All right, we're not going to pass every temptation. Is it possible? Anything's possible with God. But as we go through our spiritual journeys, we're going to get the need to be hit on the chin. We need to be knocked on the back to see what we're made of and to get back up. You get knocked down 7 times, get up 8, get back up, and you keep going. And that's what time under tension in the spiritual sense is. So the more you're in the fire and your muscles being tired out, your faith being exercised, and you come out on top, then next time a trial come your way, you see that you're stronger. All right, one of the workout guys that I watch all the time here on YouTube, he always talks about going to failure, into muscle failure. Right, you go, you lift, when your muscle can't do it anymore, you just fall out and you're just done. You rest, you relax. And that's how it is. Sometimes those failures are our biggest teachers. And so you keep going. After that, after you rest, you come back to it and you go. Don't sit there and mope and weep and think that you're the most horrible person on the planet because you failed a test, because you failed a temptation. Exercise that faith muscle. Exercise that and come back stronger next time. This is the first video in my spiritual fitness. When next video I'm going to put up in this series is going to be taking excerpts from Richard J. Foster's book, The Celebration of Discipline. I'm going to borrow some of his concepts from there as we continue to get better, continue to get stronger, and as we seek to be more spiritually fit for the upcoming new year. Thanks for watching.